When you're in winter's favorite town, the snow-covered mountains surround you. A historic Main Street charms you. And every day brings a new adventure. Welcome to Park City, Utah. Naturally, winter's favorite town. Join the experience at visitparkcity.com.
A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 135.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.
Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran, and today's episode, thanks for the memories. Goodbye. On a recent trip to Leadville, Colorado, recently, actually my trip was out to Denver and out to Golden, Colorado to visit a good friend of mine who just moved out there. And my trip to Leadville was really a trip down memory lane for me. My father used to have a house out there, and I used to spend months at a time at the house. My dad had the house for many years, and we had family vacations there. I met with my friends who lived in Colorado at the time. I had friends that visited from out of state. I mean, it was, a lot of really good special memories in that house and in Leadville. And I guess from that, over the years, I developed a very romanticized version of it in my head. It just meant a lot to me, I guess. I don't know why I would call it romantic or define it as romanticized, but that memory carried a lot of weight with it, I guess. And when I visited Leadville just recently, that trip to Leadville made it very real how much time had passed. I had not been to Leadville in about over 20 years. I guess the last time I was in Leadville, my first daughter, my oldest child, was not yet born. And she's just about now turning 20. So it was about 20 years ago, the last time I was there. And my great adventure in Leadville was a few years before the birth of my first daughter. So lots of time had passed, and without even realizing it, not even recognizing it until I went back to Leadville, I didn't know how much weight that place carried with me, and had built up over the years in my absence from that city. Have you ever, just loved something so much, or had such a great time, or have such a great memory of a place or a person that, it means a lot to you, and you cherish those moments? And I think we all have those moments. We all have cherished moments, at least I hope. And that's great, and that's what part of being human is all about. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But we also have to recognize the reality that And this is the kick in the ass, that we can't go back. I can't recreate that time in my life. I don't want to go back to a time when I wasn't married, when I didn't have my children. My life was totally different back then. Yes, I had my dad. But, the grass was not always greener on that side of the fence. And it was years ago. It was a much different time. I don't want to live in the past, but as I think about it, I must have been, a part of me was being held back, holding on to that moment. And it was actually quite a release or a relief when I went to Leadville. So it was very mixed feelings, very mixed emotions about this trip. And I highly recommend that if you have a place that, you cherish, think about going, and revisiting it. And I think what it does is that it helps bring you right here, right to the here and now. It slaps you in the face. There's no doubt about it. When I went back to Leadville, where my dad's house was, I was expecting it to be thriving and to be just as beautiful as I remembered. It was in a good neighborhood, but that neighborhood really is not good anymore. The house that was across the street, friends of my dad's, I guess they've moved away, maybe even died, but their house was beautiful, and it just looks dilapidated now and abandoned. Cars up on blocks, houses not tended to. Looks like they haven't had maintenance on it since the last time I visited. In fact, it looked like many of them were the same color, and I doubt any work had been done to them in the last 20 years. So it was dilapidated. It went downhill. It didn't go uphill. It wasn't a positive change for the city in those 20 years since I had visited last. And that was a big slap in the face for me. And it really did push that emotional baggage right off of my cart. I cherish those memories of Leadville. As I said, I spent time with my family, with my friends. Spent a lot of really good times with my dad there skiing on Ski Cooper Mountain, which is a county ski area. And heck, I even drove out there in this, I think it was a 1978 Volvo. The boxy, bricky Volvos. Well, this was a poop-colored interior and mustard yellow outside. It was the ugliest car you've ever seen. It had 267,000 miles on it when I started from Atlanta and drove it out to Colorado and stayed for several months, and then drove it back down, into New Mexico, and then all the way across, down into Florida, and then I sold it. But, I had a lot of really good memories of that. And that car, even as ugly as it was part of my rite of passage, I think, into manhood. At least that's the way I consider it. We all have milestones or markers in our lives where there was an event of significance, and that was very significant to me. I couldn't get any friends to go with me on my adventure. I had some time off between school. I was young. I was very blissfully ignorant, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go have some fun. My dad has a house in Colorado. I've got a car. It'll make it. It'll be fun. I'll go by myself because I couldn't find anybody to go with me. And of course I had people visit me over the period that I was there. So, it did work out. I wasn't alone the entire time. But I drove out there. I drove out across the country by myself and back by myself. I stayed out there by myself. I proved it to myself that I could do anything that I put my mind to. And yes, there were challenges. My car broke down in the middle of nowhere on the return trip. I was up in the mountains of New Mexico, and I was driving up this dirt road going up a mountain to another friend's house. Another friend had parents that lived in Santa Fe, or just outside of Santa Fe, up in the mountains, and I was going up the road to their house, and I tore off half of my exhaust in my car, and I had to drive from Santa Fe, New Mexico, all the way down to Florida with half my exhaust missing. It was extremely loud. I don't know how I didn't get any tickets, but I was extremely fortunate, and I lived to tell the tale, and it created a great story, and I love the memory, and I love that experience, and I loved Leadville for being my destination for that. I can't tell you how much I love that place. And I still do, and I still hold a special place in my heart for Leadville. But I've also tucked it away. After this most recent trip, I really don't have a desire to go back there again. And maybe from time to time I'll go back and just out of curiosity, but really would not want to live there. And I guess it just made me realize that my life has changed, my plans have changed, and my goals have changed. And this goal that I had to move out west was a very, very long time ago. And my life has changed to such an extent that I really don't have a desire to do that. But in the back of my mind somewhere, I think I was keeping that alive. And this is why I bring this subject up to you. Because really, things are not a problem unless we call them a problem, unless we identify them as a problem. I was blissfully unaware of any emotional baggage I carried for Leadville. It doesn't change your memories, but I think it helps put them into a proper place. And I can't live my life like I was when I was, in my 20s. I'm in my 50s now. My life is totally different, and my ambitions are totally different now. My adventures are different. Life has evolved. Life has progressed. I have grown as a person from that time. And therefore, I think it's good to kind of get grounded in reality and take a good look at your life and what you expect out of your life and the terms that you're living by. And my trip out to Leadville a long time ago, over 20 years, when I was taking that first trip out there so many years ago, that was a rite of passage for me. That was a term in my life. It was an important term to me. It was something I took on. I wanted that adventure. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And I did it. And I have moved on from that. And I have had many great accomplishments in my life. But I'm not done yet. My accomplishments are not over. My story is not over. I aim to create a lot more stories to talk about. And I love my life. And I love the memories that I have, and I cherish them. So I'm not disregarding or tarnishing the memory, but I'm making it more real, I think, rather than glorifying it and making it into something that it really wasn't, putting it in its place. So in that regard, I'm saying goodbye to that part of my life and to that memory, that cherished memory. I'll bring it out every so often. I'll dust it off. I always think of my dad with Leadville. Spent a lot of good times there, and my dad put a lot of time and effort into that house as well. But I love my dad, and I never stopped loving him. And even though he's not here anymore, I can't let that hold me up. I can't keep that baggage around. My dad's been gone even longer than Tommy. My dad's been gone for over 8 years or more. And he would want me to live my life and to continue to progress and to live my own life. His is over. Mine continues. And the same with Tom. July 28th was Tommy's birthday. And I really went back and forth of whether or not I should create something special for Tommy. I didn't do that, but recognize that he's I think about him as well a lot, and he is also a cherished part of my life, a great memory, and I'm so thankful that I had all that time with Tom. But his number was called in. He's gone. And life goes on. And life is for the living. And damn it, I'm going to live. I'm going to do the best I can to provide for my family and to provide for myself. To take on great adventures, to continue to kick myself in the ass and move myself forward. That's the only way I'm going to ever be satisfied with life, is to keep living it and keep having my adventures and keep finding joy wherever I can, right here and right now, because the past is gone and the future's not here yet. But really the future's now, and really now is the only time that matters. So I hope you enjoyed my my discussion today. I hope you enjoyed my memories and putting them in their place. And with that, I say until next time, this is your host, John Curran. This is a swift kick in the ass. Peace.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.